Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL, and the NFL Draft is coming to Pittsburgh in the year 2026. Just hanging around the team and doing all these things. And I knew this was on the horizon. They pretty much thought either we could be 26 or 27. Green Bay has it next year. Detroit has it this past year. So obviously, colder weather cities aren't a concern. And in a way, on our Peacock and Williamson podcast we're talking about today, like, is this going to be something that the NFL gives to colder weather areas because they're not going to get Super Bowls? You know what I mean? I mean, it's so great for the city. People that were there day one this year in Detroit said it was an overwhelming swarm mass of football maniacs, you know, so that whole environment sounds super cool to me. It sounds as though, and I was told this before the announcement, that they'll probably hold it down kind of between the stadium and Stage AE, like that whole area with huge tents, and use different areas of the city as well. But it's going to be a ton of people just pouring into Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a blast. And I'm sure there'll be a ton of black and gold, extremely well represented, as is the case like in Canton whenever a Steeler goes in or things like that. I bet it's going to have that kind of feel times 1,000. To be honest, I'm not super psyched about it because I love my draft situation where I go to the Steelers facility. It's a very small group of people. It's easy in, easy out, no problem parking, not dealing with a swarm of you folks and others, but we'll see how that goes. I'm certainly not complaining. It's going to be a very, very memorable event. That is without a doubt. So I'm sure you've heard already, but just wanted to express my exuberance of it all. And it is a big deal. I mean, I'm old enough, and I'm sure a lot of you are too, that we always just remember being in Radio City Music Hall with a bunch of Jets fans and occasional other jerseys sprinkled in, booing the Jets picks. But the NFL is so smart. I mean, they understand how to market the best sport in the world so well, and they've made the draft an utter spectacle. And I'm sure all you folks will take it up even a notch higher than what Green Bay does this upcoming year. So super cool. I am psyched about it. Great news for the town, all that good stuff. BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. A couple other nuggets here. Pro Football Focus put out their best 3 players for every team in the league. Okay. And I don't think it'll shock you, but their best 3 players for the Steelers in order were TJ Watt, sure, Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick. And the short little write-up was Watt was once again one of the best defensive players in football, earning a 91.9 overall grade for the year as a strong defensive player of the year candidate. I'll interject and say you could even say he was the best candidate. However, water under the bridge. It was a down year grades-wise for Cameron Hayward and Minkah Fitzpatrick, who both missed significant time due to injury. When you look at the roster, these are still the top 3 players on the team. Also considered Alex Highsmith. Okay. In a way, I don't think anyone's going to fight that they're the best 3 players on the team. I mean, that's, you know, pretty easy. I mean, I think Minkah is probably the best safety in the league. Hayward's still a force. Watt was very much in the defensive player of the year candidacy. However, even with Hayward and Minkah, and much more Hayward than Minkah, I know Minkah didn't have a lot of picks, having down years, no one surpassed them. You know, like maybe whoever number 4 is, or some up-and-comer should have been able to pass these guys. And that brings me to this, because when they list these dudes, this isn't shocking to you, but their top 3 guys: Watt, 8th year experience; Hayward, 14th year experience; Minka, 7th year experience. Human beings aren't designed to play football 10 plus years, 12 plus years, 14 plus years. So does it worry us that the best players are 7 year in and older? Does it worry us that none of them are on offense? Is it time for that to change? So I started thinking, I'm like, with all respect to those 3, who could penetrate the top 3 1 year from now? I don't know if Highsmith can. I mean, he got the just missed, also considered award here. And I think that's deserving too. I'm not, saying that he's wrong. But frankly, with all respect to Highsmith, who I think is a very good player, if 1 year from now, Alex Highsmith's one of your best 3 players, I think you got problems. That's not what you want. So who are the candidates? And please tell me your strongest one. Whenever you go to comments or you tweet me or whatever, who would you bet could penetrate the top 3? And I started on defense, and my first thought was Porter Jr. I mean, if he has another full season matching up against number 1 receivers and still not getting the ball thrown his way and traveling and replicating or even improving on his rookie season. And I will tell you, cornerbacks aren't sticky year to year compared to like a Watt or a quarterback. People will avoid them, scheme changes. But what they're asking him to do is the hardest thing corners can do, and he's already doing it. So I think Porter has a very strong chance to be in this top 3 a year from now. What about Patrick Queen? Going to play a ton of snaps. Production should be very high. Very good blitzer. You could throw some sacks on there, a lot of pressures. Really, really, really took a step forward last year. Even if he doesn't take another step forward and you get the 2024 version of Patrick Queen that the Ravens had, it's a really strong year. I think he's a second-team Pro Bowler. That's probably good enough to be a top 3 player on some teams. So I think Queen is in that mention. Now, some of these guys, O-lineman, D-lineman, Cam Hayward, the back of their football card's not going to look great. They're not going to have tons of stats. But I think Benton is capable of being a top 3 Steeler a year from now. We've talked about him a lot. I mean, is he a breakout candidate? Like Porter, I think he basically broke out with his opportunities. Can he take it a step further and give you 800 snaps this year with 550 of them being good to really good? I don't think that's bonkers. How about on offense? I think George Pickens absolutely could be in this list. He has immense ability. He's going to get immense opportunity. He's going to have to overcome things like coverage ruled his way that great players, top 3 players on their team deal with. It's not going to be easy for him. He's going to have a different quarterback. He's going to have a different offensive coordinator and system. So I think Pickens and Porter absolutely could be in the top 3, and are probably my top votes. Freiermuth, another one. His opportunities are going to go up. And he might be a little bit like Highsmith, though, that if Pat Freiermuth is one of your best 3 people on the entire team, that's not necessarily a good thing. I don't know that he has a ceiling like a Pickens or a Porter, if you see what I'm saying. Could it be a quarterback? Yeah. Russell Wilson was a top 3 player on a phenomenal Legion of Boom roster, that had Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and Sherman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Could he get back to being that player? Wasn't that long ago that he was, but I'm more skeptical than I am in his pocket or in his corner here saying that's going to happen. But if he plays smart and he doesn't turn the ball over much, he creates a lot of big plays, creates a lot of first downs. Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. He was there once. How about Fields? Things don't go well for Wilson. He gets hurt and everything clicks for Fields. And he runs for, he plays 15 games or something goofy, or 12. And they're all kinds of explosive plays all over the field. He's capable. I mean, when he came out of Ohio State, if you told me in 2025, Justin Fields will be one of the best 3 players on his team, I would say that is extremely believable. Getting out of Chicago could do him a lot of good. So it's possible. An O-lineman. Absolutely. I think if you looked at the guards, that's kind of like the Freiermuth Highsmith conversation where they're not going to be John Hanna. You know what I mean? They're not going to be Larry Allen. They're not going to be one of the best guards ever. And therefore, if Isaac or James is one of your top 3 players on an NFL roster, you probably don't have enough star power. They're good players, they're good starters, etc. I don't know that Frazier could get there this year. Could one of the 2 highly touted tackles? Yes to both. Yes to both. But with Jones being more likely, I would say, than Fautano. Did I say that right? Fautano. I'm getting better. I think I'm getting better. Fautanu. It still doesn't come off my tongue. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I even have a little thing here saying Fautanu is pronounced Fautanu. And I just don't say it well. But who cares? I'm doing my best. Baby step. I think he can be one of the best tackles in the league. I think Broderick Jones could be one of the best tackles in the league. But I said Broderick would have a better chance to be one of the top 3 Steelers 1 year from now. Because he's been on the block a little more, I mean, he's played AFC North football. He's been in the league. I mean, he's more typical tackle size. Again, I have zero concerns about Fautanu's, ability to be an NFL tackle. Very, very little concerns. But Jones is 6'6" and 330 pounds. He's a monster. So I think those are your candidates. Quarterback aside, what is best case scenario? Is it for Pickens to be one of the top 3? Is it Porter? Is it one of the tackles? Is it Benton, where Cam slips and he's the 4th best player on the team, but Benton's the 3rd, and their trajectories are going the perfect opposite direction when exact right time? Could be. That's what I got today. I thought that was fun, little conversation. I got a bunch of other stuff, on the back burner too, and we will talk soon. Take care.